Story 1. I think it's deeply ironic to have a segment of society that's built their political identity over the last 8 years on triggering and generally upsetting as many people as possible, suddenly becoming upset that they're no longer welcome in the homes of people they've spent 8 years trying to trigger. Story 2. Cousin says ditch diggers deserve starvation wages. I ask, once your ditch diggers all starve, who digs tomorrow's ditch? He dodges the question a few times before just demanding that there will always be another sucker. I wasn't the only one who walked away from him that day. Story 3. I lost friends during COVID-19. They believed it was fake while my wife was working the COVID-19 unit, watching people die and praying she didn't bring it home. It was so bizarre to watch good friends go down that rabbit hole into conspiracy theories over just a cold killing people every day. Story 4. My dad was a very liberal person. Once he retired, he spent way too much time going down YouTube rabbit holes. Now he is a conservative conspiracy theory enthusiast. He can always find a way to direct a conversation towards some conspiracy. Story 5. To me, it has nothing to do with politics. It's more about the morality of it. Everyone is allowed their own opinion on things, but voting is a choice. That means they looked at both of the candidates, what they both represented, what they both said, and physically voted for that sorry excuse of a person. Story 6. I have a transgender son. The in-laws not only voted for the most evil choice imaginable, they want to have discussions with us because we're going down the wrong path, and they just want us to understand the dangers of socialism. My wife just hung up. The kicker? Her mother is absolutely up for deportation under the current administration. Without a serious apology, they won't be welcome in our home. Story 7. We had an incident during Christmas. Without getting fully into it, I spoke with each individual family member about what happened. Some conversations went well, others didn't. I know where I stand with everyone, though. Story 8. Not family, but a friend who was with me through thick and thin for 20 years. I was best man at 2 of his 3 weddings. Uncle to his kids. We were so close that the people at work thought he was my brother. He's very conservative and we agreed to disagree on things. That ended on January 7th, 2021. The thing that gets me is that he's a decorated combat veteran who had a stockpile of guns to defend the country from tyranny. I told him that the people who stormed the Capitol on that day were criminals and needed to be fully prosecuted as such. That was the last time I heard from him. He went full Make America Great Again, and honestly, I wouldn't feel safe around him. Story 9. I'm transgender, and some family members went out of their way to gloat about their vote, knowing what it meant for me and breaking the silent agreement. It was more of a final straw kind of thing, but a significant one, and they didn't have to bring it up. Story 10. Because at this point, it is not about politics. It is about morals. Even if everything turns out well in 4 years, the way we do it matters. Both results could lead to a more perfect union. The only question is whose vision. Story 11. Politics is polarizing right and left alike. Unfortunately, it requires a good education and an upbringing that encourages critical thinking instead of blind obedience. The United States has been cultivating blind obedience and unquestionable allegiances since the pledge has been so ingrained. The golden age of the United States is over. It's in decline, and the only question is how long before China becomes the leader of the world. Story 12. Most of my family told me that I deserve to die for being transgender, and that they hope Donald Trump locks me up so I can be fixed. They had previously been sending me links to conversion therapists who use electroshock therapy to fix gay people. I will kill and die before I go to one of those places. Story 13. They voted against my human rights and the future of my children, their grandchildren. They know better and are better than this King Tangerine, but here we are. Story 14. It wouldn't be about politics if it wasn't suddenly a huge part of their personality. I feel like I've lost them to it. I'm able to be a full and whole person without my political identity being mentioned once. They aren't. Story 15. Not at the moment, but I'm always on the edge. My father-in-law is a supporter of Make America Great Again. He has been pro-Trump since the first election. Whatever, I grew up talking politics and I can deal with it. The problem is that he can't. Over the years, when he has brought up politics, it's always him, by the way, He inevitably gets upset at something my husband or I say and storms off. Again, whatever. This went on for years. Then COVID-19 happened. At first, my in-laws got the vaccines and everything was fine. They were Trump vaccines, so they were all for it. Then Fox News and the crazy cycle started. We didn't realize it, but my in-laws, and especially my father-in-law, became anti-vaccine after a while. When the booster shots came out, we got ours. My husband's parents invited us over to their house for my husband's birthday. We went, and while there, my husband asked my father-in-law if he got his booster yet. And then the conspiracies began. He started going off on the vaccines, blaming them for his tinnitus, which I never heard about again to this day. He did his own research, etc. I had enough. I was sick of the lockdowns and of people dying. I stopped holding back and started challenging my father-in-law on all the nonsense. And he couldn't handle it. He was used to saying whatever he wanted and the rest of us tiptoeing around him, but not this time. And he didn't take it well. He started saying we were talking down to him. I think he is insecure because both my husband and I have higher levels of education than him. Then he told us to leave his house. He wouldn't be talked down to in his own home, on his son's birthday, mind you. I was done after that. I could never imagine my parents telling me to leave their home. I told my husband I was done. I was not engaging with his parents anymore. They tried to pretend like it never happened, but I was done playing that game too. I told my husband I would not let it go until I got an apology face-to-face from his father for kicking us out of his house. It took that man almost 1.5 years. He finally apologized because I think he realized I was very serious. After that, I told him that if he can't handle civilized discussions about politics, then he needs to stop bringing it up constantly. I told him I would not let his comments slide anymore. If he engaged, I would engage. I can discuss without fighting or throwing him out of my house. Could he? And if he ever did anything like that again, I would not accept an apology. I would be out. We constantly walk a thin line. Sometimes he can't help himself, but my husband and I now respond in kind. My mother-in-law usually steps in to shut my father-in-law down. I won't ever start anything with him because I respect my husband and his family, but I will 100% finish something he starts. Story 16. Maybe social media influence because it's easy to get caught up in echo chambers and heated arguments that wouldn't happen face-to-face, which spill over into real-life situations. Story 17. My parents panic over everything this lunatic does. They hate him with a passion, as do I, but it's all they talk about. They're glued to the news all day. I'm tired of talking my poor mom off the ledge. Story 18. Not because of politics, no. Because of morals. Being Make America Great Again is now a moral failing, not merely a political difference. I haven't stopped speaking to them because we have different political opinions, but because they're bad people, and that is reflected in their political opinions. Story 19. My parents fly a Trump flag. I'm queer. They do not believe me when I tell them what Trump has done or said, and they repeat the nonsense that the talking heads on Fox News feed them. I figured they won't listen to me, and their views align with people who actively want to harm me, so what's the point in talking to them? Story 20. It's not politics that made me stop talking to him, but politics decided it was going to dovetail into the issue. He is now in his late 50s. He has now decided that women should not have the right to make their own choices regarding their bodies. Abortion, birth control, all of it should be illegal. When he was younger, he was thankful women had those choices, and he utilized all of them. Then he met his wife, fell in love, and had sons. He supported women's right to make those choices until his youngest turned 23. His sons are all in relationships with some extraordinary women. Beautiful women who have managed to become successful at a young age. He wants his sons to settle down and marry these women, but none of them are ready for that step. They don't want it yet. They have all gotten their own homes, travel, and are living good lives. Not good enough for him. He wants women's reproductive health curbed. Immediately. Funny how that didn't come up for him at any point in his history until the moment a woman's right to make informed decisions to not get pregnant or married directly went against what he wants when he's busy plotting everyone else's lives. His wife, bless her, hasn't left him, but she can't stand to look at him. He went full-blown insane on the subject and he managed to make her absolutely detest him. His response to me when I picked my jaw up off the floor was not promising either. I pointed out that just because he can't get his up, that doesn't mean someone like me, who is staunchly child-free, is also incapable of pregnancy, and he's being overly controlling of his children's choices as they're all adults now. He told me, "What do you care? A child would do you good anyway. Otherwise, just keep your legs closed." Excuse me? I'm 43 years old. I have earned the right to live my life however the hell I want to and with whomever I want to in whatever fashion I want to. He proceeded to call me flaky because I don't know what I even want. Yeah, I've known since I was 6 that whatever life I chose would not have me being a mother as part of it, so that's not exactly flaky. He, on the other hand, completely changed his entire belief system because his sons are ready for babies and he doesn't want to wait. Then he told me I was being too sensitive. Yeah, I've since stopped talking to him. I just hope his kids manage to make their own choices and don't end up having him and his stupid need to carry on his line make those choices for them. Story 21. Because they can't wrap their head around the fact that Trump is not a good person and that he doesn't care about them. My uncle thinks Elon Musk is, and I quote, "the Einstein of our generation." Story 22. It wasn't just politics. It was a bunch of other stuff that clicked after an acid trip that made me realize how much I dislike them and don't relate to them. My mom celebrating the overturning of Roe versus Wade and my parents being painfully and obviously upset that I protested the Ku Klux Klan trying to have a meet and greet in my town was the straw that broke the camel's back. Story 23. It's not politics, it's morals. I don't believe women should be dying because of a clump of cells that caused sepsis, but they believe she should die. I don't believe in making things harder for my neighbor because I don't want to share based on skin color or something. They do. I don't believe in hating and regulating people for choices they make about their own bodies that have zero effect on my life. They do. At this point, politics seems to be all about what rights a person should have based on gender, skin color, and financial background, and it's really ugly. Story 24. I had to cut off one friend who refused to stop reposting horrible transphobic videos and conspiracy theories. We had a lot of disagreements about politics before that, and it was all fine, but I won't associate with bigots. Other than that mistake, it seems I picked friends well. Story 25. Saying it's because of politics is almost always burying the real reason. I don't dislike Make America Great Again people because of politics. I dislike them because they're unpleasant to everyone who votes to take away the rights of some of my closest friends. Story 26. Blocked my mother, both my brothers, and their wives. I just do not want to hear the nonsense anymore. Sick of the hate, rhetoric, and parroting of whatever Trump says. I am not listening to people who have never stepped foot in a college in their lives yet somehow know how everything works. I have better things to do with my time than argue with any of them because you cannot reason with the unreasonable. My life has been quiet, and I am happy. Story 27. I have a cousin I will genuinely never speak to again because of politics. She has very extreme and bigoted views, and she was absolutely insufferable under Trump's first term. I debated her occasionally but usually ignored her because she had a bunch of unpleasant friends that would almost always jump in and turn any debate into a chaotic situation. The final straw was when she turned a Facebook post I had made about my cat, who had just died of cancer after a very long battle, into an argument about President Biden and gas prices. I told her I was done with her, to go away, and shared what I thought of her as a person. Then I blocked her on social media and deleted all contact information. Honestly, if I ever see her again in person, even if she apologizes, I will let her know I haven't forgotten nor will I ever forgive her. I was going through some serious depression and anxiety at the time due to enormous vet bills, work instability from a slowdown in my trade, and recent severe and expensive car trouble that came with no warning. She knew all this was going on in my life and for some reason chose to stir the pot unprompted on a post about my cat. Couldn't believe it. She committed relationship suicide as far as I am concerned. Story 28. Haven't spoken to one of my brothers since 2016 because he went super religious and became a massive Make America Great Again supporter seemingly overnight. I just wish I could avoid my damn coworkers as easily, but living in the South makes that impossible. Story 29. My husband's family, we never really had a lot of the same morals. They're extremely religious. I believe in gay rights, transgender rights, women's rights, public schools, etc., and they never did. In fact, I had heard some of them openly make fun of gay people, but I had been able to overlook it and maintain a semi-fine relationship with them. Well, fast forward to 2024. My husband and I got pregnant with our second child. We were so excited. They were excited. We found out at the 12-week scan that our baby was very sick and likely wouldn't make it to birth. We had to terminate in another state because we live in a conservative state. We went through so much hell and trauma because of Trump's abortion laws here in our state. I won't even get into all of it, but it's stuff we'll never get over. His family didn't know how to be there for us and, frankly, in my eyes, didn't try hard enough. I had plenty of family and friends that did, so I know it was possible for them to. They just didn't. Then, to add insult to injury, they all voted for Trump. I even had a meeting with my mother-in-law and showed her all the things that we went through, all of our baby stuff, what we had to do, and she argued with me and said it wasn't Trump that did this and that it should have always been in the hands of the states. I told her we could agree to disagree. I put myself out there with her and attempted to heal a relationship. And yeah, it's not going to be healed. How can I ever look past that? I can't. And I won't.